Holy AI-generated spin-off, Batman! Tiki here, and I am watching through each and every episode of Batman Beyond for the first time. Dragon, tell him why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way. But that was the past, and we must now enter the Batman's future.
And tonight we're talking season 2, episode 20. Zeta, that's right, the backdoor pilot, the Zeta project. Yeah, Dragon, this was definitely a good one for sure. But the thing is, I think this is a really good backdoor pilot episode for sure. It definitely it's a really good introduction to Zeta as a character, as a concept. I feel like I could be wrong, but I definitely feel like there's a lot of different elements of this episode that could potentially get fleshed out into the series. But I don't necessarily think this is like a great Batman Beyond episode. It's a good one for sure. But, first of all, of course, one of the few without any Conroy in it. So no great Conroy moment, unfortunately. I don't even have an honorary great Conroy moment for McGinnis, unfortunately. But it's a little bit on the action orientated side, and I think some of the plot points are a little bit too rushed over. I think Max starts trusting Zeta a little too quickly, but that's a minor nitpick, but it's still something I noticed. But regardless, I think this was a fine episode, and like I said, it's definitely gets me intrigued. I might actually check out Zeta Project in my off time if it's not like impossible to find. So yeah, Dragon, I'm sure there's kind of a little bit more to talk about than usual with this episode. So go ahead.
All right, so this episode specifically was directed by the great Dan Reba, who brought us Blackout. Appropriately, Terry's friend dates a robot. Not this robot, but a different robot. And Sneak Peek. The writer on this, and the writer is very important on this. The writer was Bob Goodman, the great Robert Goodman, aka Good Old Bob. So, the thing about Good Old Bob is, he did a Blackout with Dan Reba. He did Hooked Up, a big Max episode, and Ascension, which had a lot of great dramatic meat to it, is the season finale of season 1. Studio worked on this. Tiki, brace yourself. It was Coco with little marshmallows of Dong Yang in there.
Wow.
Yep. Little Dom Perignon for you there. Okay, so the original. So here's the thing. So this episode, this concept actually was initially pitched by Dini, but it was very different than what it ended up being. So Paul Dini had this concept, this vague concept he was toying around with about what if you had like a robot that steals, but because it's trying to understand what the reward of crime is, like people, like basically as a reflection of like people are stealing. Why are they stealing? I steal. I don't feel it. Why am I not feeling what these criminals are feeling?
Uh-huh.
Interesting idea. Problem is, not a lot to it aside from the foot in the door. And Dini kind of realizes that was kind of the roadblock. Like, I don't know where to go from here. I kind of have to. He basically passed it off to, hey Bob, we kind of want to do a robot episode, or kind of in the vein. I don't know if he deliberately said in the vein of like his Silicon Soul, which of course was the big robot episode from Batman the Animated Series. I'm not sure if that was directly. It feels like it is. I don't know if that was direct, like kind of the impetus there. But the point being, we're in the future. AI's, the well, now we're here, but then it was like, hey, AI in the future and everything. We're it's a topic. It's a futuristic topic. So so Dini gave it to Bob Goodman, and he kind of refined it and kind of inverted the idea, and he kind of turned it into Zeta. This episode, which essentially this and primarily the Zeta Project show is essentially a combination of what if you took a robot and basically you did some elements of Frankenstein, some elements of Blade Runner, and some elements of The Fugitive. So basically, The Fugitive with a Frankenstein in a Blade Runner setting is essentially the chemical combination that gets you Zeta with some chemical X in the mix. No, I'm kidding. So Anyway, so this episode went over very well. Got some Annie nominations, the Annie Awards, nominated for writing. I think ultimately, I think what happened was Bob Gooden had such a good time working on this episode and coming up with stuff with Zeta, and you can tell Zeta definitely has some presence here. I mean, Zeta definitely leaves an impact. Am I right?
Yeah, like I said, I think just the episode definitely sets up a lot of really interesting ideas for him to
Yeah.
explore. I could see going into a series.
So I mean, if memory serves, it wasn't like directly like, "Hey, let's do a spin-off of this guy." It was very much as like, "Hey, let's just really, let's explore this character." And I think because it went over so well, like Bob Gooden says, "Well, I really would like to write that character again." And WB was looking very favorably
And
on
the ending
Batman
of this
Beyond.
episode leaves it wide open for sure.
No, for sure. Yeah, that's the thing. So I don't believe, from what I can find and what I understand, I don't think it was directly planned to be a spin-off. At the very least, if it was probably after the episode was finished, and then they kind of realized it. So I don't know how quick it was that they decided to do. They were going to look into doing a spin-off, but the Zeta Project came out in 2001, January 2001, and that's an interesting thing with this episode, by the way, is that we're bringing up terrorism, and this is essentially is right is before '01. This is like
Mhm.
the first season of Batman Beyond's in '99. This is in 2000. I think we're still probably in the midst of 2000 at this juncture. So Zeta Project starts in January of '01, and bringing up NSA and terrorist cells and everything. And the next episode, it has a bit of a, well, we'll get there when we get there. So it's, in hindsight, I think Zeta was kind of short lived, possibly for that reason. At the very least, I think it may have made some people uncomfortable with the subject matter.
Oh, okay, okay, just bad timing.
I
Yeah,
think, well, that's not the only
happens.
thing. I think mainly because Zeta did not do bad at all.
I
Like the
mean,
Zeta
honestly,
Project show.
Invader Zim kind of had the same sort of fate. Honestly.
Now, again, I can't say that's the entire reason as to why, because Zeta Project, it did well, but it didn't do gangbusters. So I suspect that was the main role. Well, we're going to be talking about the Zeta Project, I believe, one or two more times. I think one time because I think it's included in the. I think they folded the episode into Batman Beyond. We'll find out because I forget if I forget if we have to cover the Zeta Project episode as well, or if that Zeta Project episode is technically in Batman Beyond. Anyway,
Mhm.
semantics. The point being, retroactively, because of Zeta in this episode, even just this episode alone, retroactively they worked Zeta into the greater DCAU because in Justice League and Justice League Limited, we have the training robots that the Justice League use that they essentially bought from the military and the government, and that's where we get the synthoids. So basically, they look exactly like Zeta. So the idea is like in the future they repurpose these training bots with the synthoid idea, which again we really established in the Terry's Friend Dates a Robot episode. As to, I think the idea though, this is like the upgraded version of it, where there you had it like with fake robot skin and everything, very much like Hardak, and now it's like the holographic kind of projection unit. So that's they've upgraded like the tech on them.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's about it. I think we have some
All right.
comments, and then we'll
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
dive into it. Yeah.
Okay. So Kogias says, I think a lot of DC fans haven't seen the Zeta
No,
Project, and I'm one of those people. Is it any good?
it, it's it is good. I mean, I forget if they ever put it briefly because now everything's leaving HBO Max. I can't say if it ever made it to HBO Max. I don't think it did because that's the thing. It was kind of an unknown entity. It's good, but there's one very specific thing that show does. Like here, one of the big standout scenes in this episode is a conversation scene about about the big moment that kind of caused the turn in Zeta. Now that show shows that moment, and while it's effective, it doesn't have the same impact as like him telling that story. So that's kind of the thing. Like the Zeta Project show was supposed to be a little more in tone with this episode, a little more, kind of ethically interesting and like a little darker. But that show, there was a mandate on that show. He has a teen sidekick in that show. And the teen sidekick's fine, but you can tell they're kind of chasing like, yeah, we want to put like a Max with him, but we can't take Max from the Batman Beyond show, so let's give him another teen girl.
Mhm. Right. Right. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a bit of that. It's a lot lighter than this episode. I'll put it to you that way. It's a little lighter than that episode, but it has good stuff in it. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's it's fine.
Okay. Let's see. He also says this Silicon Soul is underrated. It has one of the best endings of a Batman Beyond episode, or I'm sorry, a Batman the Animated Series episode.
I love his Silicon Soul. No one ever talks about that episode. I love it. As a kid, I love it nostalgically. As a kid, it was like
I feel like
Batman
it gets
versus.
pushed under the radar because a lot of people like hyper fixate on the the rogues gallery of Batman the Animated Series. But yeah, it's a really good standalone for sure.
See, as a kid, nostalgically, I will always love that episode almost as much as I love fully Laughing Fish, because as a kid, it was like Laughing Fish. Oh, that's the definitive Batman Joker story. On the flip side, you have his Silicon Soul, which is like it's Batman versus robot Batman. As a kid, it was like, oh my god, that was fighting. That episode opens with Batman gets shot, and then he discovers he's a robot. Like, what have I been watching this whole? He's a robot. How does that? It's a whole like Alfred. Why are you not helping this man? What's happening?
All right. Let's see. Kokia says giving a spinoff to a random Batman Beyond character is very odd and random. It would be like giving Kite Man his own show.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would push it. Like for me, it'd be like I don't know, Dragon. What's an example of like a one-off villain from like another? It'd be like giving Ken Wins his own show in the Breaking Bad universe or something, you know?
Oh, you didn't hear the announcement, did you?
Oh my god. If only Dragon, that would be random, but we'd be all over it.
We would, because oh god, I can just imagine just as like April Fool's Day joke, like Vince Gilligan, Peter Gould, like announcing very sincerely, "Okay, guys, we've been keeping it under the radar. We've seen him in both shows. We love Ken Bonheimer. We want to bring him back, and you know what? We're answering America's fan mail. We're doing it. We're giving Ken Wins.
Oh my god.
That's literally what the show is going to be called. Ken
that
finally
would
wins.
be a good title for a show.
Think about the arc of Ken Wins, Tiki. A man just trying to build his own Saul Goodman-esque empire. Just with the heads of the Bluetooth and everything, and then this cancer-ridden man
Ken Wins would basically be like the Charlie Brown story of the Albuquerque verse.
Only if Charlie Brown were a douchebag.
Oh my god.
And then you have like, oh god, they have like this the big turning point is this this poor Ken Wins, like a grouchy old cancer man blows up his car. And he has to start all back from square one again. Like that's going to be his office moment from the first season of Better Call Saul. It's going to be like he's going to be kicking that door in. It's like, oh my beautiful car, all the hard work that went into this, literally up in flames. He takes the Bluetooth and he smashes it. Like, what did I just do? I need to buy another one. Oh god, the Ken Win show.
All right. Oh wow. Okay,
forget the Gus Fring miniseries. Let's do the Ken Win show.
All right. Code Geass says Kids WB had a rule that all their cartoons had to have a youthful protagonist. That's why Zeta Project has a teen, and that's why Batman Beyond exists.
Yeah. Sadly.
All right. Let's just jump right into it, Dragon.
Yeah.
So we start off. Let's see. What kind of class is this, Dragon? Is it it's a science class, right?
Biology.
Okay. Never mind.
They're learning about DNA and stuff. It's the boring version of the Mr. DNA show. But yes, they're in biology class.
Why couldn't they just go around? Why couldn't they just fucking ride the ride and then see the eggs? All right.
Would have saved themselves so much trouble. I think the lawyer wanted to see what happens next. I think that.
I wanted to see what happened next.
No, I'm just saying.
There might have been like a cool Living with the Land style dark ride section. We don't know. We'll never know now.
I'm saying, you want to get like quantum mechanics and everything. If like every significant like little change like impacts the the great universe. Like, hey, had the lawyer stayed and watched at the time that it would have taken to get from point A to point B, he wouldn't have died on that toilet.
All right. Moving on.
He would have died somewhere else, but not on that toilet. Anyway, so Miss Martell, she's given the lesson here. Max questions free will and gets a very literally by the book answer, and Terry
This is totally just like Chat GBT.
Now this is really nice though. Terry, his Batman instincts are kicking in. He's noticing the little things there. He's noticing that she is just literally in response to this. She's just continuing the lesson like straight from the book, but
Is
acting
it
like
technically like Wikipedia before Wikipedia? Because it very much feels like someone reading from a Wikipedia article.
I mean, essentially, it's basically like instead of textbooks, they have discs, and the teachers have
Uh-huh.
a disc. Like there's no actual book.
Which honestly, Dragon, I really think colleges, I hope colleges have started employing ebooks by now because my God, I remember when I was going to college, those textbooks were ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right. So okay. So Terry is kind of wondering if being Batman's made him suspicious, overly suspicious about everything. No, Terry, trust the instinct. So Bennett, Agent Bennett, and his men find Zeta, and
These
they give
guys just seem
chase.
like they're totally just pulled straight from Men in Black, the animated series.
I mean, maybe a little. So again, the point being, these are NSA agents, Agent Bennett and company. They're going after Zeta. Batman intervenes. Of course, Zeta. We reveal that Miss Martell's actually again still in the guise of the middle aged teacher. you know,
Uh-huh.
you have this big exciting action sequence as Miss Martell's giving chase and like pulling out guns and shooting at the NSA. And yeah, you see these Bennett lays out sorry basically Bennett kind of lays this out briefly to Batman, saying either help us or get out of the way, and Batman chooses rightly to save the bystanders caught in the crossfire between all this craziness. Good
Mhm.
call. And in the process, Zeta escapes. Well, it is revealed and then escapes. We reveal the middle-aged teacher is in fact a robot.
Now I gotta say, I love the robot design for Zeta. I love how it's got both like absolutely no personality and a ton of personality at the same time. It's a brilliant design from my point of view. And I
Yeah,
could totally show how I could totally see how the show would have a blast playing around with all the different forms he could take.
the show definitely does that. However, they do change the core robot design. Not a lot, but they do give him a head.
Ah, you see the fact that he doesn't have a head, I thought was the
Yeah,
best part.
I think Tiki. You know what? I
Ah,
really think it was a network. No, I think the network said he's got to have a head if he's going to be the lead of the show.
that's a bummer.
Yeah, I think it's the network being cowardly. Like, guys, just let
Yeah.
him not have a head. Just let him have like the little horseshoe. It's
That's
fine.
literally the unique part of the design for me, honestly.
I know, I know. Well, you know what? Here's the interesting cool. Here's one of the cool things about the design. Again, we lose when we give him a head, but right now he's shorter than Max.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, little thing. Well, it's mostly because he doesn't have a head, but still, he's shorter than Max.
All right.
Anyway, so okay, it's point being all the craziness. The robot got away. All right. So Barbara Gordon and the GCPD, they find the real Miss Martell in the basement, bound and gagged. They find that the lesson plans basically, she's essentially was kidnapped and impersonated. So Batman, this I really love this. It's kind of an update on the Batman Gordon scene here, where
Oh,
Batman
yeah, totally,
and she
totally.
knows he's there the whole time.
Uh-huh.
Where he's eavesdropping in on the exposition scene with
Again, Dragon,
Agent
I
Bennett.
just want to reiterate, I really, with the whole Bruce Wayne and Barbara Gordon of it all, I really was not looking forward to Barbara Gordon in the show, but she has definitely become a highlight, man. Like I really love the kind of like the twist on the Batman and Gordon dynamic that she represents. It's really a lot of fun every time they play off of each other.
Yeah. So again, the fact that she knows that he's like cloaked in there, and he's trying to be real sneaky about it too. He didn't really tell her he was going to be there, so he's just kind
Uh-huh.
of she got good instincts that with Barbara Gordon. I mean, she wore the cape, she knows. But yeah, so he's eavesdropping in there as basically we get the lowdown from Agent Bennett here that basically Zeta was part of like deep cover ops. His whole program is to replace, interrogate, and then dispose of the target. and he went rogue on a mission while he was infiltrating like a terrorist group. And the fear is the terrorist got him may have reprogrammed because again he went off programming after he visited the terrorist. So there is a legit fear there, and I kind of get the fear that Bennett has. But still, obviously, the NSA doing something really shady there. Like, really, we're gonna interrogate, then dispose of the person.
Mm-hmm.
So Barbara wants to assist them, basically get him out of there faster to minimize the casualties. Because you saw it's interesting that we saw in the structure what happened here. With people were getting caught in the crossfire because these guys they're going after their property, at all costs. They don't really care who gets in the way, which is obviously not good for anyone.
Right.
Yep. Anyway, the bit of you get all that. So she trusts Batman a lot more than she trusts Bennett. So she hopes that Batman will find Zeta faster, and she also gives him the good tip. Again, in lieu of a Bruce Wayne. We don't really say what happened with Bruce Wayne this episode. Just Bruce, he's unavailable. He's sleeping. Yeah, Bruce just sleeping this episode.
Oh God.
In reality, he's probably visiting a friend or something overseas, but still, he's could be sleeping. We don't know. So she suggests. He wants some. He infiltrated a high school, so presumably it's unfinished business because he was chased away from said high school. So he's going to be back somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Good tip. Oh, fun fact. It's a bit of not an animation inconsistency, but if you can look, there's kind of like they kind of animated a little wonkily, so it kind of pops out. Commissioner Jim Gordon's picture is on that desk, and I love that detail. But you'll notice it's animated a little oddly here because they keep painting in the background, but not well. So it's like kind of like a splotch of white paint on a little frame at times.
Oh yeah, I think I have seen that. Yeah,
it kind of pops out, then it's in the background that pops out, almost like the
right.
Scooby-Doo book effect, All right. Anyway, so Max seemingly hacking the NSA and looking into how to dispose of a homing beacon that's on Zeta. Dana interrupts, inviting Max to Wynn's. Mistakenly call him Wynn a girl. Wynn is in fact a guy.
Dana is just so amused by that little slip up.
Yeah, Dana's got problems, man. No, Dana's fine.
No, seriously though, it's I just think it's funny. It's she doesn't think it's suspicious at all. She just thinks it's oh, LOL, Max, you're so funny.
Oh, that wacky Max. Oh, Max, one day you'll learn. Anyway, so Dana, she just kind of brushes that under the rug. We, the audience, know that she's
yeah. As soon as that happens, it's robot.
She's a robot.
Robot house.
He goes Futurama. I go SpongeBob. That's how we are on the robot. All right, so we're at ChipCon, which essentially is a microchip, or I guess a circuit board manufacturing plant. Maybe
Dragon, it sounds like a potato chip convention.
You'd go to that convention.
That would be probably the one convention I would actually go to, yes.
Yeah.
If I were to go to a convention, it would probably be a food-related one.
Oh, I know who you'd cosplay as.
Oh, God. Who?
Mr. Chips.
Mr. Chips?
Yeah, Mr. Chips.
Like Mr. Chips to Scarface?
Yeah, that Mr. Chips, yes. Mr. Chips.
I'd probably cosplay as the pirate popcorn mascot, whatever that guy is. I don't know.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know, because I like pirates. Pirates are in this year.
Well, yeah, but the ChipCon?
Yeah, I don't know. He's chip adjacent.
Oh no! Wait, no. Okay, you know who you actually should cosplay as though. Chip, the IT guy.
That I would probably consider.
Yeah. Right. So, anyway, so we reveal at this motherboard manufacturing place. Zeta is holding Max prisoner and has assumed her identity. And Zeta, this time around, they recast Zeta for the show. By the way, good actors. They didn't downgrade her. They got Diedrich Bader for the recasting. He's wonderful.
Yeah, that's definitely not a downgrade.
Exactly, and he does a great. He's one of the best reasons to watch that show. What he does with the role there, but Gary Cole The wonderful Gary Cole getting some good depth here. So rarely do we give Gary Cole depth in animation, and here we did that.
Okay.
Okay, also for the folks out there, Gary Cole, voiced Dr. Possible, Kim Possible's father from the Kim Possible show, and of course Bill Lombard from Office Space.
All right. I'm sorry, I just did not know the name offhand.
Oh, Bill, yeah, just all right. Anyway, also fun fact: 2 DC roles. He was the Spectre in the DC Showcase short, and played Jim Gordon once in Under the Red Hood. The very brief lines of dialogue Gordon has.
There you go.
Just want to get that in there. So rarely do I ever get to bring that fact up. Okay, so point being, Zeta wants information from her so he can avoid detection, like the whole Wynn fiasco. Meanwhile,
yeah, but he does it very threateningly, though.
Seemingly, but however, if you look, it's almost like the moment from Toy Story. It's with Sid's toys, where from one angle menacing, other angles like, oh look, he's like touching her face and everything, trying to be all comforting.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's a literal like cut the commercial moment. Like, you're going to have to be more thorough, and it's like honestly, in the moment, I was like, oh god, oh no.
Yeah. All right, so in quotes, Max is working on a device at school. Terry invites her to lunch. Tells her, says,
Max, it's lunch.
Max, come on, it's lunch.
Oh god.
Yeah. We have, he offers her like the sandwich that she likes. What is it? It's not Geneva in Swiss. It's like, what is it?
I'm sorry. I'd have to go back and look. I don't have.
You're the foodie, man. Come on.
You want me to look? I'll look. I'll look.
I would like you to look. Yes.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so let's see. So Terry asked her to cover for him with Dana while he's like on the hunt for Zeta, and she's like, "Sure, cover with what?" So instantly, Terry, smart enough to know, okay, something's off. She knows the secret here. This is all
Genoa
wrong.
and Swiss. Yeah, you were right.
Wait, what's it called?
Genoa and Swiss.
Genoa. Okay, Genoa and Swiss. Is that a real thing?
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
Well, again, in our food circles here, you're the more cultured, sandwich ear.
I don't know. I have not heard of it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Anyway, so Terry again puts on a smile and everything and says, "You know what? I got it covered. I'll see you later." So he pivots here, cleverly pivots, and he's tracking Max back to the factory. Meanwhile, the NSA is also tracking Max back to the factory. They're on the trail. Zeta brings Max lunch, which of course is the Genoa and Swiss sandwich, which again he learned from Terry. Oh, that's her favorite. I'm going to bring her that.
Now, this is like the one piece of the episode that I kind of found far-fetched, where it's like,
he would never bring her a sandwich.
My favorite sandwich. You do care. Honestly, like, you're not so bad. You might have been holding me hostage, but you're a good robot. You're not the J.J. Abrams production logo.
Well, I think it's just been a day. Sorry. Oh, God, the J.J. Anyway, but no. I think she's been captured for maybe a day, and he brought her food, and that's the thing. He hasn't like treated her inhumanely. It's just,
I don't know, Dragon. To me, it felt like the one point of the episode where it's like, yeah, shit, we got to speed this along.
I'm with the sandwich. I like the idea. He just learned that from Terry. He's enacting the information, like a sponge with the information he's recovered, like in the field. I don't know, but yeah. Enough. I mean, you're right. But look, sometimes we need a nice, friendly visual, and sometimes a sandwich will do the trick. I don't know what to tell you. And we literally have
I mean, honestly, legit sometimes.
I mean, look, there's a talking sandwich of exposition in Muppets from Space. Okay, I think we can skew the sandwich line sometimes. You remember the talking sandwich from Muppets from Space, don't you?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay. Anyway, he never got to eat that sandwich, by the way.
Oh, God.
He was about to, but he got interrupted. I suspect because they didn't want him to eat a talking sandwich in a Muppet thing.
I mean, it would make sense, yes.
Yep. All right. So, point being, Zeta, he's trying to treat Max humanely here, and basically is a robot in pursuit of freedom, so he doesn't have to hurt people for the government, which it's an admirable reason to want free will. So let's see. So he's got this built-in, he's basically building a filter to disrupt the homing beacon, so he won't be like instantly tracked by the NSA. He was created to destroy. He doesn't wish to destroy anymore. Again, kind of, Sata laying it out there for him. Max questions like, "Well, why all the guns?" He's, "Well, they're self-defense. I mean, they're shooting at me. What do you want me to do?"
Mm.
But then we get into kind of the bat. We're gonna bring a little bit of the Tao of the Batman here with Maxine here, where it's like like even if it means killing, like, look, you're a smart guy. You can figure out another way. We have a whole character in this for decades now who's done that very same thing. He doesn't use guns. He figures out another way.
Exactly.
Give it a shot. So they have the big disarmament moment where he's unloading all the guns. I love the design of this robot where you have like the guns like in the rib cage. It's always a really cool idea.
Yeah, just the fact that the that rib cage kind of acts as like almost like a Mary Poppins purse. You know what I mean? It's like you can
Yeah,
pretty much pull out anything from it.
yeah. So let's see. So again, design wise, again, he's shorter than her. He's got no head. And he's got like the 6 gun slots. Like again, it's a very practical design for a robot you would put in the field. Like it only has the necessary things that you need in this robot. Like there's a question like, why would you give him a head? Well, that's the thing. I mean, he technically wouldn't need a head. He just needs like a sensor. So yeah, take that network. No head. All right. It's like No Face's cousin. No head.
Oh, God. Right.
Only he doesn't need everything in a horrifically nightmare-inducing way. Okay, you know why? Because he's got no head. All right, facts. All right, so Zeta. We have Batman versus Zeta in this misunderstanding fight that we tend to have here, and Max breaks it up there, but Zeta cleverly is fighting without.
Kogias here. But Terry, he made me a sandwich. That doesn't excuse kidnapping, but it was a good sandwich.
Now we have Gutierrez from Freakazoid saying, "Enough about the sandwich already." It was my favorite sandwich, Terry. I know. I told him about the favorite sandwich.
Code Geass Dragon. I just want you to picture Terry just like calling up Bruce Wayne, and this is like literally like a 1-second Bruce Wayne cameo.
Yeah.
Bruce, you've dealt with robots before. Can you help? Bruce, no. Can you imagine that? Just like a 1-second cameo, just like no.
Calls him up like, "Hey Bruce, I'm dealing with a robot. Can you help me? I already did my robot episode. You're on your own."
All right.
All right. So, we have some fight here. Batman's almost crushed by this giant circuit board press. Zeta saves Batman. Enter the NSA.
Mm-hmm.
So Zeta, he awesomely kind of like this. He kind of rips like this machine press thing, and it basically turns into a Gatling gun, which is pretty awesome. He did it for self-defense. He can use it instantly to kill these guys. Batman stops them, thank goodness. And Batman grabs all the Max and Zeta, and they blast out of there.
All right.
So we have the big moment of the episode, and this actually is the important episode. Honestly, this scene is the reason we probably have a show for Zeta.
Probably, yeah.
All right, the Zeta backstory scene. Wonderfully acted by Gary Cole. Again, now, in the spinoff, we see this scene. It plays so much better. It's just like a story that he recounts. Very effective here, where he basically lays out the story about he on the last mission that he had, the terrorist mission. It was less a terrorist, more an accountant that knows the terrorist. It's like the accountant for the terrorist, and he replaced the guy, lived with his family. Saw his daughter ride a bicycle for the first time, and he's had that realization. Like, when he got the moment he's supposed to kill the guy, I can't deprive a father of seeing his child grow up just because he knew
like
that
the best scene in Munich, Dragon.
Yeah. But seriously though, it's just a great moment there. Of like, I can't like punish this guy just for like being caught in the middle of everything and knowing that I'm a thing. So it's
Yeah,
very
it's a
much
great
his,
kind of like artificial intelligence gains a heart kind of moment for sure.
especially if his purpose is to like you know impersonate people. It's like he's stepping into that guy's shoes. He became a father. It's basically there's an
He
element of
became a non-biological father.
absolutely literally a non-biological father.
Exactly. Doesn't get more non-biological than that.
Yep. But yeah, he's so again. I love the parallels to his Silicon Soul in this episode with that. Just the fact that there's like that moment of like I can't do this, and of course his Silicon Soul is a big moment of like he thinks he killed Batman, and he basically he sacrifices himself to save Gotham in penance for that action. So here it's like, what if the robot stopped right before that moment, and then he's like, I can change.
Mhm.
So it's a great premise for a character. Like, what if a robot like rejected his lethal programming? Like, no, I don't want to kill, and I don't care if the government's going to come after me. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of like the whole Iron Giant like gun thing in a
Mm-hmm.
way.
Yeah. So let's see. To build the parts that he needed the school. So that's why he took Max. It was a very necessary thing. It wasn't like he didn't do it just like I'm just going to kidnap a random person. Like, no, I need someone who's actually going to be no one's going to look at. So Batman's a little conflicted here, like letting a former murder bot go, especially when we did see like when pressed against the wall there, he didn't go for like the Gatling gun. So he's right after he holstered all the guns, like I'm not gonna use these guns. Let me just use the bigger gun. So it's like Batman has some valid concerns here, I think.
Hmm.
So he's Max is making a pleading a case for him like he deserves a second chance, and she suggests first off, hey, why don't you customize a new look so you don't have to keep replacing people? Use the people you've replaced before and just mix and match. And he does it. It's a really great idea. And yes, it is a lot of fun in the show.
Yeah, I really like that idea. Although I will say that again, going back to the whole thing where like the fact that the robot literally does not have a head kind of like makes this idea resonate a little more.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yep. Blame Kids WB. All right. So let's see. So again, basically we have this moment where he has like a disguise and he's gonna walk off and they wish him luck and Batman's gonna keep an eye on him until he leaves town. Basically, Batman's literally ushering him to his spin-off show right now. So I'm gonna make sure
Essentially,
I'm gonna
yes.
I'm gonna make sure you get that spin-off and get out of my show. You
Oh my god.
only room for one of us
You're
here.
too interesting, god damn it.
It ain't the Batman Zeta hour. Get out of here. It's not B to Z here, man. Come on. Okay, so um, the NSA, they are monitoring the trains out of Gotham because they figure, okay, he's going to want to leave. So if he's going to do that, we're going to have to, there's one close way out on foot. So so have this. They're monitoring the airport, and then we have the big moment here where a skier bumps into Zeta, and it looks like a man has been impaled, and everyone's freaking out, like, oh my god, this man's not in
It is
agony right
pretty
now.
horrific.
It is, and I like that we kind of set this up in the animation where if you saw, there's a little bit of holographic, like every time he's like when he was the teacher, when he reached for the guns, like they kind of came out of nowhere. So there's a bit of like a
Right,
holographic,
right,
it's
right.
filling in the spaces in between. So I love the logic of that.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so the cat's out of the bag. He's caught. They go the baggage claim, which essentially is built like a maze. It's like a literal maze of baggage.
There's
Batman
almost
lends in
something sort of like Monsters Inc. doors about it a little bit.
a little bit. So Agent Bennett, Bennett, of course, he's our front man with the NSA. He's the lead guy.
Is he in the
Interesting.
show?
He is like that's the thing. So
Okay,
he's
nice,
like
nice. Yeah,
so again. The show majorly leans into the whole fugitive angle.
I had a
So
feeling about that. Yeah, yeah.
Bennett's essentially Tommy Lee Jones, and you're gonna love who plays Bennett in the show.
Ooh, who?
Kurtwood Smith.
Oh my god, I do love that. Yeah.
And that's the thing. They develop Bennett a lot in the show, and Kurtwood Smith is really good in that show. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so so Bennett he offers to, in quotes, fix Zeta. In reality, of course, it's going to make him a killer again, which he does not want. He takes the gun, he punches him, takes the gun, and Batman's like, "Oh, please, Zeta, don't!"
This is
Like
a
it's going
cool
to ruin the
moment.
whole.
This is a cool Batman moment right here.
Yeah,
Anything that's anti-gun is always a cool Batman moment.
it is. It always is. So then Zeta crushes the gun. I decide who I want to be. Like, yeah, he literally took that from Iron Giant, but that's really cool, though.
I know, for real.
Well, if you're gonna, again, it's Warner Brothers associated. It's
Yeah.
All right.
This was in the era where they were playing it on Cartoon Network all the time.
Yeah. All right. So then basically, now here's like a direct reference to RoboCop. By the way, I know it keeps coming up, but especially with the.
It's almost like I should watch it or something.
I mean, it's twofold, Tiki. For one, again, the Kurtwood Smith factor I just mentioned, who again, Kurtwood Smith very memorably in RoboCop, but literally this scene here is kind of a direct.
I literally don't think you've ever mentioned that, and that might be the best sell to watch RoboCop.
Oh, you didn't know he's the bad guy, Tiki. He's the bad guy in RoboCop.
God damn it!
This is like, Tiki, like literally Kurtwood Smith. There are two roles the man's known for. It's Red.
Well, you know what I know him from.
It's like literally two roles, though. Tiki, two roles. There's that '70s show, and there's RoboCop with two sides of the coin.
Okay.
Much
I'm
happier. The other one,
I'm gonna have to. I'll watch it, Dragon. I'll fucking watch it.
Okay. So the point being, we have this. This is staged very much like a big action scene in RoboCop, where anyways Zeta is seemingly destroyed. He basically fakes his death when he falls, projects like a smoldering corpse, but he's fine. He's okay. He's a robot. He's okay.
I thought that was a nice little beat.
Yeah.
It's like at first it looked like he was like gonna at least take on heavy damage, but like nope, not even a scratch.
Yeah, he's fine. So yeah,
but I really like Terry kind of doing him a solid with the explosion. I thought that was a cool little Batman trick.
It is. It was a really nice gesture, bombing like the makeshift alley there.
Of course, knowing that there's a spinoff and that the agents return probably didn't do a whole lot of good, but hey, it made him let him get away in the moment.
Well, I mean, they were hoping they would think it was like a self-destruct mechanism, but they're going to again, they're digging through the wreckage. They're going to know if they find no parts at all, he didn't actually blow up.
Right.
So there was it bought him some time to leave town. That's all they wanted to do, really. Anyway, so it gives him the nod, and Zeta gets on the train, and he goes right into a spinoff.
All right. So yeah, Dragon. Again, outside of like the Bruce Wayne stuff and the fact that the Max turnaround is a little rushed, which it's not even really that big of a deal because there's only so much you can do in a 20-minute episode. I thought this was really good. I don't necessarily. I wouldn't really put this in like the great tier of Batman Beyond episodes, but I think it was a lot of fun. Really good. Good concepts. I can see why they would want to develop this character further, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, this has always been a fun one, but again, as you said, again, it's very much an episode that kind of grew a little too big for its britches. Not in a bad way, just in the sense it literally grew out of the show. It's like, I mean, it's a cool oneer, but yeah, it's not really like it's more just a Batman features in the episode. We're in futuristic Gotham, and I mean, it has maybe a few parallels with his Silicon Soul, but it's like, man, what if we allowed the robot Batman to live and then go off and have his own show? That's kind of what it's like.
Right.
So it was fun, but I'll tell you the best part of the Zeta Project. I haven't told you about this part yet.
Oh, what?
Episode 1. He manages a Cinnabon in Omaha.
No way.
No, he doesn't. It would be hilarious.
No, like, if that's true, then Better Call Saul specifically is homaging it. Because there's no way they would get that specific.
No. I'm just saying, in terms of like, think of the characters we can track who literally go off into their spin-off, where it's like, Saul Goodman, he's going to the Cinnabon in Omaha, and what do? We check back in with him next. Cinnabon in Omaha.
Yep. All right. Okay. So yeah, big thanks to Kogias for joining us in the comments as always. All right, Dragon, take us out. What's coming up next?
Terrorism meets G.I. Joe. A reluctant team up. The return of an unknown 60s Batman foe. Can Batman and Stalker prevent a plague from hitting Neo Gotham? Or will Nelson Nash be responsible for the end times? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to Batcave Beyond with Plague. I'm telling you.